Yes, finally I have fixed the ankle pain associated with my Oxelo MF500s and MF900s. Ultimately, the fix turns out to be pretty simple, and if you wish to skip to the end of the video, then please feel free to do so. I really don't want to draw this video out, so I'm going to get right to it. Anyone who watches this channel and who watches me on Instagram will know that I am a huge advocate of these Oxelo MF500s and latterly the MF900s. I did a review probably about this time last year, and I stated that the one main issue that I have with these skates is they can cause some ankle pain, and I pretty much made it my mission to get to the bottom of it and rectify it, and that's exactly what I've done. I tried a number of things to fix or alleviate the ankle pain. I tried to bend out the plastics of the boot, I tried to cut away part of the tongue, I tried to make eyelets in the liner itself, but none of which ever really did anything about it. So here's what I tried next. Ankle guards. These ones are from Ennui, and I felt that they could definitely cushion what was going on. I thought it was probably related to the liner, and I thought if I could protect myself a little bit more from the liner, then these would definitely help. And they did dampen down the pain, but they didn't fix it entirely, and that wasn't really enough for me, so I moved on. Another little thing to note about these is that if you don't have them in tight enough, or you don't have them in the right place, or if they shift whilst you're skating, then they can cause their own pressure points, which can cause some discomfort. So that's one thing to note about these. They definitely dampen the pain. I can still feel a little bit, I guess just an awareness of the discomfort, and I think it's coming from the liner. So these are my old Seba FR1 liners, and they are very stiff. I'm going to put these back in. I have a feeling this will completely eliminate the issue. Now, since I thought it was related to the liner, I switched out the liner. I had an old Seba liner from my FR1s. I popped that into the Oxelo MF500s, and the pain disappeared. At this point I thought that was the end of the story. The problem with that is you've paid for an Oxelo skate which is relatively inexpensive, you're then having to change up the liner. Liners aren't necessarily cheap, and so why not just buy a different skate with a better liner? But that turned out not to be the full story, and I'll explain more. In September of last year, I received a set of Oxelo MF900s, assuming that I was going to get the same problem because it's the same boot and it's the same liner as in the MF500s. I started using the Ennui ankle guards from the get-go, and although I did feel an awareness of something around my ankles, you couldn't really call it pain, it was just a slight discomfort. Being convinced that the liner was the issue, I switched it out, only this time I didn't swap it for the Seba. I left the Seba in the MF500s, and I used the liner from my Aeon 80s, which is the MyFit Skinny Boy liner. I was excited about this because I really like that liner, it's so comfortable in the Aeons, and I went out for a skate and was sadly disappointed. I wasn't wearing the ankle guards because the Skinny Boy liner around about the ankle area is pretty padded, but the pain was actually probably worse with the Skinny Boy liner, and this really made me uncertain as to whether or not the liner was in fact the root of the problem. At this point I really felt as if I needed to replicate what I'd done with the 500s and do exactly the same with the 900s. So I decided to use the Seba liner, and I popped that into the MF900s, and as before, the pain disappeared. At this point I was kind of thinking, if the liner is the problem, why does the Skinny Boy not alleviate it? Why is it still present? All I knew was I couldn't continue to use the Skinny Boy, so in the interim I decided I'll pop the Oxelo liner back in whilst I work out where I'm going to go next. As I was doing that, I decided to take the opportunity to put my foot into the boot without any liner to see if I could locate the precise location of the pain. For me, it's always on the ball joint on the insides of my ankles, and it turns out that that point is exactly here. Now that is the bolt for holding on the cuff, and as you can see that metal protrudes a little bit beyond the plastic, so I decided to simply cover this up. These are floor protectors. You stick them to the feet of your furniture to protect your floors from scratches. They are self-adhesive and they are the perfect size to fit over these cuff bolts. I then reinserted the original Oxelo liners and the pain was gone. And this is exactly what I recommend you do. Now just be careful that you don't use something that's going to protrude too far into the liner and cause a pressure point, and bear in mind that over time this may wear and you may have to replace it. But that's pretty much been the fix for me and I hope you find the same thing. It's been a journey getting to the bottom of this, but I feel really satisfied to have finally done it, and I hope this video is something that you find useful, and I hope it allows you to go out and skate pain-free with your shiny new Oxelo MF500s or your MF900 skates. And on that note, take it easy, skate safe, and I'll catch you on the next pain-free roll.